Depression is lack of willpower. Okay, so it's like chicken or the egg, right? Because when you're depressed, you feel like you're lacking willpower. Like when I'm depressed, it feels like it's hard to get out of bed. And like the things that should be just like regular things, it requires so much will to get out of bed. So it's like maybe depression isn't willpower, lack of willpower is depression or whatever. But what I'm saying is like let's say you're depressed and then all of a sudden you lose all your will. Well, you never get out of the depression unless you get your will back. Like from what I understand from having spent so much of my life depressed is that I need the willpower first and I need some forward momentum first. Like I don't get inspired and then go outside and then my depression is solved. I am depressed, I force myself to go outside and then I get inspired because I force myself to go outside, right? Like the willpower has to become before the inspiration. Like you have to will yourself out of fucking depression. And like a lot of depression is like this hopelessness where it's like nothing's ever going to get better and like everything's so hard and like just like going through my normal tasks feels like so intense and so hard, and that's real. Like that's a real place to exist in, trust me. But there's also like this idea when you're depressed that you're like a victim to the feeling, and that like you're a victim to your lack of mental health, and that life's harder for you than it is for other people. And that's like true in a sense because some people aren't depressed, but it's like this waiting for things to get better, potentially medicating or like, you know what I mean? It's this like kind of like victim mindset and not like almost like a fake it till you make it thing. Like get up, pretend like you're not depressed, and then it happens, you know? And part of this, like you can work backwards from this too. I think that you can become depressed from lack of will. So I think like if you're working all the time and you're like fucking super forward momentum, like let's go through life, you have a bad day and then you fucking like sleep in and you like are trying less hard and maybe you fall back on your diet and start eating a little bit more junk food. And then you wake up the next day, you have two options. One is to try and do better than you did the day before. The other is to keep going down the path of like, you know what, I'm going to cheat on my diet again. I'm going to sleep in again. I'm going to call off work again. And so the more you kind of go down the rabbit hole of like not expressing your willpower, first of all, you lose willpower. It's like a muscle. And when you don't exercise that muscle, then you start to lose it. But second of all, you start gaining depression at the rate that you're losing willpower. So like, I feel like I'm out of a depressive hole that I spent most of my life in. I also don't feel like it's this magical fucking like mindset shift. I feel like if I had a bad day at work and then got home and took a fucking Xan, ate a bunch of junk food, and then went out and partied, and then had another bad day and did it again and like kept kind of like lacking willpower and like not showing up for myself in the moments where it's hard, in a year, I'd be back to rock bottom. I'd be back to like waking up every day and being like, fuck everything, I hate this. And it's like, at least for me, I'm saying these things like this applies to everyone. Guys, this is just for me. Let me reiterate the theme of all of my content, which is I don't have any idea of what I'm talking about. But all of my fucking depression was rooted in like disassociating and disengaging from problems. Like I was saying today that just now that I'm like in need of work and I'm going to be moving back to Florida for a little bit and then probably to California. And I'm just like, I'm changing what I'm doing for work and I'm going through this like shifting transitionary period in my life. And yesterday I got into like a heated conversation with my boss and it didn't go well. And it's making me stressed out because it's like, now I really have to leave this job and I have to do it soon. And so I woke up this morning and I had this urge to like fucking go on my phone and scroll and like watch YouTube videos and fucking disassociate from the problem. And instead of engaging with like, oh man, I feel stressed out about work, let me like sit down and write down some of the options that I have for jobs and kind of come up with a plan for myself and what I'm going to do and how I'm going to move forward. Let me disengage with the problem and drown myself in my copes, whether that be, and people think copes is always like drugs and shit. It's your phone, bro. It's your girlfriend that you just fuck and don't actually like and just rot with. You know what I mean? It's your friends that you hang out with and party with but don't actually do anything productive with. It could be going to the gym and like working out so hard as a way of like forgetting about your problems. You can use anything as fucking cope. People drown themselves in the shit that's not the problem as a way of disassociating from the problem, which is lack of willpower. It's absolving yourself of like the responsibility of fixing things, and enough of that, and you'll be fucking depressed. I think I'm onto something. I'm also probably saying a bunch of things that like people actually do research on, and there's like books written on, and people have expanded on this and actually like put science to it and articulated it in understandable ways and found the mechanisms at play. And I'm just sitting here completely unresearched, idiotically talking about it like I'm fucking discovering it and everyone already knows. So excuse my ignorance. But yeah, I think depression is lack of willpower. I think lack of willpower is depression. I think it's a chicken or an egg situation. It's almost like who cares what comes first? Did you feel a little bit sad or did you stop trying as hard? But they feed into each other, and sometimes it might be you feel a little sad and because of that you stop trying hard, and then because of that you feel sadder, and then because of that you stop trying harder even more, and or it could be you stop trying hard and then because of that you feel sad, and then you know what I mean. It's like it could start with either one, but either way it fucking spirals, and it ends with willpower. Like the day that you're depressed and you like haven't gotten out of bed in days, and you just one day get up and take a fucking shower, the next day, get up and take a shower and walk outside. Like the second you start implementing some fucking willpower, you start climbing out of that hole. And then what happens is you don't need willpower for those things anymore. Like, bro, I spent so many fucking days forcing myself to get out of bed. And it sucked, man. And a lot of times I'd force myself to get out of bed and then I'd spend all my time out of bed doing hedonistic shit. So that's why I'd go right back into the hole and it'd be harder for me to get out of bed the next day. When I got out of bed and did better and like really tried every day, it took a while and it's still happening. There are still times where I wake up and I'm like, fuck, dude. But it's not happening as bad as it was and I feel it getting better. And like, man, like compared to where I was 2 years ago, getting out of bed feels so easy. Of course, every morning my alarm goes off and I'm like, fuck, I don't want to go to work. Like this shit is hard. You should have seen me before, bro. You should have seen me when I was refusing to get out of bed, when I wasn't showering, when I wasn't eating, right? At least now all it takes is like 2 minutes of like, fuck, and then I'm up. And then after fucking 5 minutes of walking around, I'm like, okay, I can do this. If that's the change in 2 years, if I keep applying this, imagine 10. Maybe one day I'll fucking be excited to get out of bed. You know what I mean? Like, so I do want to say all that. This video is from a longer video, a podcast. So if you watch this whole video, you should go watch the longer version on Patreon, which is in the description.